The first thing we all do when we start up a Pokemon game is choose a name, a gender, and then we head out to get our starter Pokemon. See, the options over the 2 decades that Pokemon has existed for have always remained the same for your starters. It's either a fire, water, or grass type. And today I wanted to take a look at the fire starters in particular. I want for us to go through and rank the fire starters from worst to best. So the rules are simple. It's all my opinion and I decide. No, but for real though, I will base my decisions on both design and overall usefulness and general strength. So keep in mind, my opinion will be kind of the overarching decision here. Let's get started. At the bottom of the list has got to be Tepig for me, and while I know some of y'all may hate me for this, but I was just never a fan of this Pokemon. One reason might be because, well, it's just straight up a pig, and the other reason may be that it's sort of just not that interesting in general. And Tepig could have remained a high Pokemon on my list, if not for the fact that they decided to make it bipedal instead of remaining on all fours once it evolves into Emboar. This is something that they just seemingly continuously have done for the fire starters, and it just makes me so freaking sad. Overall though, the Tepig line is not horrible per se, but man, it just isn't really that useful with overall bad moves, and again, the design just ruins it. So yeah, with the low base stat total, and as well with the design being pretty horrible, it ends up at the bottom of the list. Fennekin is next, and well, they truly dropped the ball on this fox Pokemon. I love the actual idea and concept of Fennekin, but its evolution into Delphox just ruined it. I get the concept and what they were going for, but it just didn't look appealing with a lot of the fan-made designs before Delphox got revealed, actually speculating way better ideas for what it could look like. And beyond that, you would expect its typing to come in handy, but it doesn't. Sure, it comes handy in general with a high speed and good special attack, but doesn't really do much generally. It doesn't make up for the overall scope and position of this Pokemon being pretty lackluster, right? Sure, the Fire Psychic, it's awesome, but it doesn't really do that much for it, and it just kind of really lacks compared to the other options. Litten is next for me, and well, I just have to put it here. Litten itself isn't a bad design, and nor are really the evolutions either, but I just couldn't stand Incineroar when I first saw it. For whatever reason, I felt done with the whole bipedal fire types, and at this point, I felt baited by its middle stage evolution, Torchic, being on all fours. So when I saw Incineroar, I just thought, sure, Incineroar, it gets a unique typing, but its design just doesn't appeal to me, right? The Fire and Dark is cool, and it's a new addition and it's really interesting, but its design just made it less intriguing, and I don't know, I guess it grew a little bit on me over time with its whole wrestling concept behind its design. However, I still find that because of this lack of general power for this Pokemon, and only really having good special power or special attack, and lacking in speed, just doesn't make this Pokemon a fire starter I want on my team, and it just doesn't look appealing in design. Next is Scorbunny. So yeah, I feel like I had to put this on here for sure. See, Scorbunny is great, and Reboot is probably my favorite middle stage evolution design of all time for any starter. But the reason it isn't higher is because I find that Cinderace kind of ruined the evolution line. The design isn't horrible per se, but again, it just doesn't really look or match well with its previous stage evolution, Reboot. See, Reboot has such a cool design and it seriously looks badass, and I love that, just the way it looks. It just looks awesome. I love it for that. I love its overall coolness design and badass, design concept. But then you've got Cinderace, kind of just gets it wrong and adds in these blue colors and makes it look really goofy, rather than keeping the beautiful black and red coloring that Reboot had. Beyond that, Cinderace is probably the biggest issue with its evolution line out of all of these, because I feel I love Scorbunny and Reboot, but it all gets ruined by Cinderace. Those are good evolution designers, those are good starters, but Cinderace kind of ruins it. And beyond that, it's just a pure fire type. It doesn't really do much crazy stuff. It isn't that strong. I mean, it's useful in Sword and Shield, but I feel there are better options out there. So at this point, we are in the top 4 of the 5 starters on this list, and I guess next for me personally has to be Chimchar. And no, do not worry, I don't hate it. Everything at this point is stuff I do like very, very much. But it's just the fact that for me, the other remaining starters are just more favorable to what I prefer. And as for Chimchar though, it has to be one of the best Pokemon ever, and its final stage is one of the coolest designs. I mean, Infernape is fantastic in terms of what it looks like, and also back in Generation 4, having Chimchar on your team was almost necessary due to the lack of fire types within Sinnoh. But other than that, Monferno within the middle stage evolution looks cool in the middle, and Chimchar itself is a cool little fire monkey that just looks great in general. And Infernape also had some great stats to put it up higher on this list. It had the firefighting typing, which is very, consistent and normal, but that does also give it like a really good opportunity to be used in a team. It also had really good speed stats and overall great offensive capabilities. So if you're looking for a Pokemon that's a good all-arounder in different areas, then this was a Pokemon that definitely could get the job done. Then we have Charmander. Yeah, so I'm not putting this guy at the top, but I can't deny that this overrated little guy and his evolutions are the top tier in terms of designs. See, Charmander is obviously a salamander and Charizard is a dragon, and well, any kid that loves dragons will love these Pokemon. But beyond just that, Charizard also comes in with 2 Megas and a Gigantamax form, making it almost like always viable in like any Pokemon game to have on your team. Sure, back in Generation 1, Charmander was actually the worst choice, for the first 2 gyms, but if you stuck by it, Charmander and eventually Charizard would be the best thing to have on your team, as Charizard is always a top tier Pokemon, which always has good competitive capabilities and loads more to offer. And also, this is one of the most popular Pokemon of all time. I mean, I know it's overrated for sure, but it does kind of get all that love for a reason. People loved it for a reason back in the day, and that's why it has stayed on top for so long. Sure, I know Game Freak keeps pushing this Gen 1 Pokemon into our faces, but they do it for one good reason, which is people love Charizard and people love Charmander, and for that same reason, I do also love Charmander and Charizard, hence why I put them so high up on this list, and why I ranked them pretty high, because I just think they're awesome. Alright, so controversial decision, but I am putting Cyndaquil up here, and this is because I'm being totally biased in this one. See, I know Typhlosion ain't the best fire starter, or Cyndaquil ain't the best fire starter in terms of stats and what it's capable of doing, but man, did I love having Cyndaquil in my team when I was playing through Pokemon Gold as well as Soul Silver when I was younger. I mean, in terms of design, every stage is just awesome. Cyndaquil itself is cute and a bit strange, Quilava is badass and has a sleek design, and then of course Typhlosion is like legitimately the best of Pokemon designs. The flames like flowing through its back and its overall badass demeanor, looking angry and like fierce. I'm so mad at Game Freak though for not fixing the flames on its back for the 3D Pokemon games, but god do I love this Pokemon. And sure, you could argue that pretty much every Pokemon below it on this list would be stronger and fit further up above it in the list if we based it only on the strength of the Pokemon, but I base it on design, and strength of course is a side thing here, but I think in this position, my own opinion as well as its overall concept and the way it looks like just win out over the strength of the Pokemon. And finishing it all off is Torchic. I mean, is this even a question? Blaziken is like the god tier of fire type Pokemon, with speed boost as well as incredible attack and special attack stats, as well as actually pretty insane speed as well when it is mega evolved. This is just hands down the best fire starter you can go for. And in terms of design, it also looks cool because first we get a cute little chicken that turns into a more badass larger chicken, which then becomes a big old chicken man. Basically, this makes me hungry for chicken, but that's besides the point. Either way, you also have to keep in mind this thing has a Mega Evolution, which makes it even more powerful, and it also looks really badass. Like, the Mega for this thing is insanely cool. So that's why it just skyrockets to the top of the list and wins out as, in my opinion, the best fire starter. I mean, sure, Cyndaquil is kind of my favorite fire starter of all time, but I think just Torchic as well as Blaziken and even Combusken just get it slightly higher and come up to the top a bit easier. So that is basically that. So ladies and gentlemen, that is the end of the video. I hope you all did enjoy. If you did, then make sure to drop a like down below and subscribe for future Pokemon related content. If you guys want to see the next one, we're going to probably do either water or grass. So please, in the comment section down below, feel free to comment. Do you want to see water types next or grass type next? And we will do that in the next video. Either way, thank you so much. Also, make sure to check out my second Pokemon channel, Astra Poke, where I do some gameplays and stuff like that. Please give it a check. Just check it out. Give it some love. And thank you so much for today. Have yourselves a great day, and bye-bye, ladies and gentlemen.